And Gardner McDougall adds another championship to his storied coaching career. The Wildcats get it done on the road, and not for lack of effort from the home team in Rimouski, as they did everything they could in this third period to fight their way back into the hockey game. And it looked like their top guys may have just run out of gas, as their minutes played down the stretch were huge. And Moncton hangs on. What a finish.
What a performance from both of these teams.
Both teams have absolutely nothing to hang their heads over, as Rimouski gave their home crowd lots to cheer about tonight. And despite having the energy come out of the building in the second period with 3 goals from the Wildcats, they scored 2 in the third. And you can tell from the look on the Oceanic players just how much this means, not only to them, but on the other side, the elation on the Wildcats is, as you said, 15 years in the making. They come out on top, and it's a long season for all these guys, and they're all at different points of their careers. Some of them will be drafted, some of them will go on to play pro hockey, and for some guys, this will be the pinnacle of their hockey careers. And so for Moncton and their overagers, this is awesome. Might as well get the mascot on the ice. Try to put a smile on the Rimouski players' faces. And there's Gardner McDougall. As we chatted with him before the series, Matty, and as Craig Button told us before that conversation, highly soulful, and a guy that I know I probably would have liked to play for, as he seems like he gets his guys to go through a wall for him. And you want to do it for him, not because of him, which is a big difference in the mind of the player.
Hope he's got some room in that already loaded trophy case.
He's going to have to slide a few trophies over on the shelf.
Make room for the Gilles-Courteau. And how about the call to give the overager Matisse Rousseau the start? And although it was tense in the third period, Coach McDougall breaks out of the rotation, and Rousseau delivers.
And I'm sure not an easy decision, as Rudy Guimond had a 24-game win streak. And to go back to Rousseau after the loss in Game 5 just shows how much faith he has in his goaltender. But the 1-2 punch of Rousseau and Guimond all year is just remarkable. And Taylor McDougall, the GM of the Wildcats, talked to the group before the season started. You can see Gardner here having a little bit of a powwow, which couldn't wait for the dressing room. But Gardner told us how Taylor mentioned before the season started, it just had to be a tight-knit group, and they certainly were, as they had a record-setting season. And for Joel Perreault and the Rimouski Oceanic, they were number 2 in the queue all year, and they put up a good fight against the #1 club, and unfortunately fall short here in the championship series and end the year as the #2 team as well.
These two teams, though, will play in the Memorial Cup round robin on May the 28th. I think it's safe to say we can go ahead and circle that one, as both these teams will have a crack at the 105th Memorial Cup. And now for the best tradition in sports, a long and hard-fought series. The Oceanic really putting a scare into the Wildcats, going down 0-3, but one shot away from forcing a Game 7.
And both captains lead their teams in the handshake line. And for Marcus Vidicek, the overager for the Wildcats, though the Gilles-Courteau Trophy is certainly a nice finish to the season, there's still more ahead of both these clubs as they look towards the Memorial Cup, and they'll meet each other, as you said, Maddie, in the final game of the round robin, which I'm sure is appreciated from both groups as they'd like a breather from one another, as this was a hard-fought 6-game series, and they left it all out there. And some great play from the depth players in both groups as that fourth line for the Oceanic with Levesque, Dubé, and Belzile. They had an impact seemingly in every game, though they weren't on the score sheet. The speed of Levesque and Belzile at times did a great job for Rimouski, pushing the Wildcats back as it seemed tough for Rimouski to find momentum in some games throughout this championship series, and that fourth line for Rimouski played a pivotal role in tilting the ice back in the other direction. A good look at Caleb Desnoyers, who Gardner McDougall said has the rosiest cheeks in the Quebec League and will one day have the rosiest cheeks in the NHL.
Full shade of him here after a tough 60-minute effort.
And a guy who leads the charge for Moncton, and though he didn't have a goal in the championship series, obviously a big contributor for this Moncton group as he plays the game the right way. And it's not all about the offense for him. He finishes checks. He's good in the face-off circle. He plays on the right side of the puck. And he probably won't be in junior too much longer, as an NHL team is going to be looking forward to getting their hands on Caleb Desnoyers in this year's upcoming NHL entry draft. And he's only going to get better and bigger. They have him at 173 pounds, though he's 6'2". And as he matures, likely find himself around the 200-pound mark, where he'll need to be when he comes up against stronger, bigger men in professional hockey. But certainly the future is bright for Caleb Desnoyers, and he'll only reap the benefits of playing for a coach like Gardner McDougall.
And Coach McDougall raved about Desnoyers, the full package. Skill, heart, desire, physicality. Go down the list, and there's the meeting between the two coaches on a terrific series. Some sharp words shared earlier after those goaltender interference penalties that really irked Joel Perreault. As the home salute from the Oceanic. They fall short in the QMJHL final, but they will be back on Friday for the Memorial Cup opener. They will play as the hosts, and Moncton will play as the QMJHL champions. And we will have the trophy presentation for you, along with the Guy Lafleur playoff MVP trophy.
And just to cap off, talking about Gardner McDougall and how he feels about Caleb Desnoyers, one of the best strengths that Gardner said about Caleb is he has a memory like a goldfish. So when he has a bad shift or a bad game, he's able to shake it off. And that's why he didn't go stretches of time throughout this season and this playoffs without being on the score sheet. And I think this was the first time all year he went 3 games without a point. And
correct.
He didn't factor in on the score sheet tonight, but he certainly played a big part in that Loki Johansson goal as he screened Matisse Langevin, who wasn't able to get eyes on the puck, and Johansson was able to find the back of the net, and that was a big goal for Moncton, as it was their second goal in about a minute 41.
Big turning point in that second period where the Wildcats struck 3 times, outshot Rimouski 19-7, and in the end, that decisive middle frame, the difference in the game number 6. As the Wildcats will celebrate with the team and their executives.
And Gardner told us as well the family atmosphere that they have in Moncton. From top to bottom, the executive team, coaching staff, players, management. And it takes a special group from everybody to have success, and you can tell with the hugs going all around how big of an impact every single one of these guys had on the Wildcats year. And the trophy's going to be handed out shortly.
For the third time in Moncton Wildcat franchise history, they are the QMJHL champions 2006 and 2010. So a decade and a half in the making. And there's the shower for Coach Gardner McDougall.
I don't know if there was a betting odds on what color the Gatorade was going to be, but they went with blue to match the color of his suit, and why not wear blue and red when that's the color of your group? You might as well drink blue Gatorade as well, as catch them by surprise. And I'm sure that's the best cold shower that Gardner McDougall's ever had, and I'm sure he's had a few of them.
He's had probably a few.
He's probably had a few, and likely knew at some point it was coming.
9-time university champion, a Memorial Cup winner with St. John a couple of years ago, and also celebrated a under-18 IIHF World Championship just last year in 2024. So we mentioned the full trophy cases. Probably a few suits that might not have been able to be recovered from the dry cleaners.
And just a second ago, Dylan Gill wrapped up an interview, and another overager for this Wildcat group as he'll cap off his junior career and look towards the Memorial Cup. But I thought he had a really solid game in the 7th rounder of the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2022. But some real smart decisions with the puck tonight from Dylan Gill, as he looked wide a few times on Langevin, knowing the kickboard was lively here in this Rimouski rink. It popped out in front a couple times that almost resulted in some great chances and goals for the Wildcats, and then decided to change it up as he saw Gabe Smith parked in front on his second goal and 6th of the playoffs, as he fired it perfectly for Gabe to get a stick on, deflected pass Matisse Langevin. That ended up being the game-winning goal.
Just gonna say, that ended up standing up as the winner with the big Rimouski push. The championship ball caps are on.
What do you do, Matty? Do you curve yours, or do you go flat beak?
Well, my junior B days were not as successful here as a championship winning team, but I'd go for a nice curve on mine if I had the choice. But I'm probably better off here in the commentary booth with you, Peter.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
So the Gilles-Courteau Trophy first, and then the Gilles-Courteau Trophy. The longtime commissioner of the QMJHL will be awarded. A shout out to the Oceanic for a terrific final.
La LHJMQ tient à vous remercier, les partisans, de supporter aussi bien nos équipes et de mettre autant d'ambiance dans nos arénas. Merci aussi à nos partenaires qui ont encore une fois été très nombreux cette saison.
For a great
La Ligue est
ambiance and atmosphere.
d'avoir un groupe de commanditaires et de diffuseurs officiels comme RDS et TSN qui sont autant dévoués envers le hockey junior. The first thank you is for you, the fans. Also, we would like to thank our partners who have once again supported us throughout the season. The league is fortunate to have a group of sponsors and broadcasters like RDS and TSN who are so dedicated to junior hockey. Commençons par le trophée Guy Lafleur, remis au joueur le plus utile des séries éliminatoires, tel que voté par les membres des médias. Let's begin with the Guy Lafleur Trophy, awarded to the playoffs MVP as voted by the media. Pour présenter le trophée Guy Lafleur, veuillez accueillir le commissaire adjoint de la LHJMQ, Assistant Commissioner Martin Lavallée.
Any guesses, final guesses here, Matty? He comes out to hand out the Guy Lafleur.
Your good is as good as mine.
Le gagnant du trophée Guy Lafleur, the winner des Wildcats de Moncton, Caleb Desnoyers.
Joining the likes of Sidney Crosby, the great Mario Lemieux, and go down the list. The draft-eligible Caleb Desnoyers, the recipient of the 2025 Gilles-Courteau-Trophy, is the playoff MVP and the first draft-eligible winner since 2013 with Jonathan Drouin. 12 years of history.
And a great job by Caleb all throughout this playoffs, as he 30 points and 19 games played, and he's going to be a special player for years to come. And though he didn't have a goal in this final series, not a big surprise that he was the winner of the Gilles-Courteau.
And how about that for a trophy? The Gilles-Courteau, it's been awarded going all the way back to 1970. Tremendous history. And this year, it belongs to the 2024-2025 Moncton Wildcats.
It looks kind of heavy. Are we sure that Marcus Vidicek's going to be able to handle this all by himself?
Merci, thank you. Permettez-moi d'abord de féliciter votre Océanique, Messieurs Tanguay, Dupont et Perrault et tous les joueurs, toute une série, une très bonne séquence. Bravo. La bonne nouvelle, c'est que vous jouez la semaine prochaine. Bravo, Océanique.
Well, bravo to the Oceanics and their fans. And the best news is that they'll be playing next week in the Memorial Cup.
Permettez-moi rapidement de féliciter tous les familles de pension, les remercier, les conseillers scolaires. Thank you to Billets families and school counselors. Without you, the league would not be the same. Merci les thérapeutes, entraîneurs adjoints, gérants d'équipement, ATs, equipment manager. Thank you very much. Your contribution is recognized. Maintenant, merci aux 2,3 millions de fans qui nous ont suivis toute l'année. Thank you to the 3.3 million fans that followed us all year. Maintenant, les Wildcats. Mr. Irving, Mr. Brousseau, 15 years in the making. Congratulations. Monsieur Taylor McDougall, Gardner, job well done. Bravo, messieurs. Tous les joueurs, all the players, exceptional series. What a great team, inspiring. Marcus, come and get the cup.
The biggest lift of them all. The Moncton Wildcats are the 2025 QMJHL winners.
That's a special moment for a special group who had a special year, as they put the cherry on top of this Quebec League season. And they're going to have to regroup pretty quickly as they're going to look towards the Memorial Cup.
And how about the first handoff to the overage goaltender, Matisse Rousseau. So close 2 years ago. Heartbreak at the World Juniors with Canada last year. The first lift.
Followed up by another overager in Dylan Gill, who had a great championship clinching game today.
And the captain.
Right back to Marcus Vidicek.
The three overagers touching the Gilles-Courteau-Trophy first. Vidicek, 307 games played. And there's McKinnon. Former Halifax Moosehead, just like Rousseau. How about the big game that Collard had in game number 3? Ultimately swung the series up 3-0.
Well, how about the double OT winner he had in game 2 as well? As Vincent Collard is certainly a big factor for the Moncton Wildcats, and they're not going in order of age. They're obviously going in order of leadership, as Caleb Desnoyers gets the trophy early on here in the handoff. And Mercier was a big factor for me for this Moncton Wildcats group, as I feel like he never takes a shift off. And I said it a few times, he skates with purpose. Driving plays down the ice, driving to the net. First steps on the back check, and he's a big part of this Moncton Wildcats group.
I think we're jumping right into the team picture here. Not everybody got a hoist, but the photo that will stand the test of time. As the Moncton Wildcats will come right back here to Rimouski as the QM-JHL champions. A big thanks to you, Peter, for a great season. Bring on the Memorial Cup.